Admiral John Collins stood motionless on the bridge of the USS Defiant. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his eyes burned with quiet rage. On the main view screen before him, the New Seattle colony lay in ruins. Smoke rose from craters, where homes and research facilities had stood just 3 days ago. The settlement that had housed 30,000 of humanity's brightest minds was now a graveyard. "Scan complete, sir," Lieutenant Frank Wilson reported, his voice barely above a whisper. "No survivors detected." Collins nodded slowly. 6 months ago, he had been chosen to lead Earth's first diplomatic mission to the Galactic Council. It was supposed to be the crowning achievement of his career, humanity's formal introduction to the galactic community. Now he wondered if it had all been a setup from the beginning. "Play the message again," he ordered. The screen flickered, and the face of Council Speaker Draws appeared. The alien's purple skin glistened under the lights of the council chamber, 4 eyes blinking in what Collins now recognized as satisfaction, rather than the sympathy he had initially perceived. "The Galactic Council has reached its decision regarding Earth," Draws announced. "Your species has been deemed too aggressive for full integration into galactic society. Your rapid military development, combined with your biological predisposition toward violence, presents an unacceptable risk. For the greater good, humanity will be contained within your solar system until such time as evolutionary processes or guided intervention produces the necessary neurological changes for safe interaction." Collins clenched his fists. "Guided intervention," he muttered. "They mean genetic re-engineering or extinction." Dr. Olivia Martinez stepped onto the bridge, her normally neat appearance disheveled after 3 days without sleep. As Earth's leading physicist and the inventor of the spatial manipulation drive that had allowed humans to reach nearby star systems in months instead of years, she had been a primary target of the Council's interest, and apparently, their fear. "I've analyzed the attack patterns," she said, placing a tablet on the command console. "They specifically targeted our research centers first, then communication hubs. They wanted to eliminate our technological advantage before we could use it." William Harris, Earth's senior diplomat, joined them at the console. His normally confident demeanor had given way to a mix of shock and betrayal. "I spent weeks talking with their representatives," he said quietly. "The Thraxians offered technological exchanges. The Valyrians spoke of cultural partnerships. It was all a lie." Collins pulled up the tactical display. The Council fleet had withdrawn after the attack, but long-range sensors showed they were regrouping at the edge of the system. "They're coming back," Collins said, "and next time, they'll target Earth." "We need to warn the President," Harris said. Collins nodded grimly. "Communications. Establish an encrypted channel to Earth Command, Priority Alpha." The bridge fell silent as they waited. Finally, President Grace Bennett's face appeared on screen. Her expression turned grave as Collins reported what had happened. "They gave no warning?" she asked. "None, Madam President. One moment we were in negotiations about scientific exchange programs. The next they excused themselves for a private council session. 6 hours later, their ships jumped into the New Seattle system and opened fire." Bennett's face hardened. "I'm declaring a planetary state of emergency effective immediately. All colonial outposts are ordered to activate defensive protocols and prepare for evacuation if necessary. Admiral, how soon can you return to Earth?" "At maximum speed, 3 days, Madam President." "Make it happen. We'll need every ship we have." The transmission ended, and Collins immediately ordered the ship to prepare for the jump back to Earth. As his crew rushed to their stations, Dr. Martinez approached him with a troubled expression. "Admiral, there's something you need to see." She led Collins and Harris to their diplomatic quarters. The rooms had been assigned to them on the council station during negotiations. They had only returned to the Defiant when the attack began. Martinez pointed to a small device hidden in the ceiling corner. "I found these in all our rooms. They've been watching us the entire time." Harris examined the device. "This isn't just audio surveillance. This scans for neural patterns. They weren't just listening to what we said, they were reading our emotional responses." Collins felt a chill run down his spine. "They were assessing if we were a threat. And they decided we were. Martinez finished. A sudden commotion in the corridor drew their attention. Lieutenant Wilson rushed in, his face pale. "Sir, we've intercepted Council communications. Their fleet isn't just regrouping, they're preparing for a jump to Earth. They're calling it a containment operation, but the weapons they're priming are the same ones they used on New Seattle." Collins's mind raced through options. The Defiant was fast, but even at maximum speed, they might not reach Earth before the Council fleet. "We need to buy time," he decided. "Harris, you still have diplomatic credentials to access the Council station, correct?" The diplomat nodded cautiously. "Good. We're going back." 2 hours later, Collins, Martinez, and Harris stood in the private chambers of Valerian Ambassador Zivthal on the Council station. The silver-skinned humanoid seemed genuinely uncomfortable as Harris confronted him. "We considered you friends," Harris said. "We shared our culture, our science. Why this betrayal?" Zivthal's luminous eyes darted to the door, as if checking that they were truly alone. "Not all Council members agreed with this action," he admitted quietly. "But the majority, few prevailed. Your species advanced too quickly. Most civilizations take thousands of years to progress from basic flight to space travel. You did it in less than a century." "That's a reason to destroy us?" Martinez asked incredulously. "The Council believes that species who advance technologically, before outgrowing their violent tendencies, become existential threats to galactic stability." The ambassador's voice dropped further. "Some call humans an evolutionary mistake. Your adaptability, your aggression, your creativity in battle, these traits terrify the older species." Collins leaned forward. "What exactly is this containment they're planning?" Zivthal hesitated before answering. "Best case, a blockade of your solar system, forced disarmament and genetic modification programs over generations to reduce your aggressive tendencies. Worst case." He trailed off. "Extinction," Collins finished. The ambassador didn't deny it. As they left Zivthal's chambers, an alarm blared through the station. A mechanical voice announced, "Attention! Human delegates are to report to security for protective custody. This is a safety measure for your own protection during the containment operation." Collins exchanged looks with Martinez and Harris. "They're detaining us to prevent us from warning Earth. We need to get off this station," Martinez whispered urgently. Armed guards appeared at the end of the corridor, moving toward them with weapons drawn. "This way," Collins said, pulling his companions toward the docking bay. They rounded a corner and found themselves face to face with 2 Thraxian security officers. Before the insectoid aliens could react, Collins struck with military precision, disabling both guards in seconds. "The Council always said humans were too violent," Harris remarked as they sprinted toward the shuttles. "They're about to learn. Why that should worry them," Collins replied grimly as they reached the docking bay. Minutes later, they were aboard a stolen Council shuttle, racing away from the station while the Defiant provided covering fire. As they prepared to jump to Earth, Collins looked at the faces of his companions. They all understood what was coming. Earth's peaceful entry into the galactic community had been a brief dream. Now humanity would show the Council exactly why they had been right to fear them, but wrong to provoke them. Colonel Lisa Reyes felt the cool mountain air as the massive steel doors slid open. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, hidden from both civilian eyes and alien scanners, lay humanity's greatest secret. She led the group of high-ranking military officers through the entrance tunnel, their footsteps echoing against concrete walls. "For 50 years, she explained as they walked, Earth has prepared for this day. While we smiled and talked about peace with the stars, we built this." The tunnel opened into an enormous underground cavern. Lights flickered on automatically, revealing row after row of machines and weapons unlike anything seen on Earth's surface. This was Project Prometheus, not a single ship or weapon as the name might suggest, but an entire network of defensive and offensive systems. "My God," whispered General Paul Howard, his eyes wide. "I knew we had secret projects, but this—" Reyes nodded with grim satisfaction. The public budget for space exploration was only half the story. Every nation contributed to this facility. In secret. We hoped we would never need it. She pointed to a wall of screens showing Earth's solar system. Thousands of small dots blinked around Earth and near other planets. Those aren't stars, she said. Each dot is a weapons platform disguised as debris or small satellites. Some can turn asteroids into weapons. Others can disrupt faster-than-light travel. And these, she tapped a screen showing microscopic machines, are our most valuable asset. Drone swarms smaller than a grain of sand that can disable alien technology from within. One of the admirals frowned. But the Council ships have advanced shields and armor. Reyes smiled without humor. They expect us to fight like them. Ships against ships, energy weapons against energy shields. They don't understand that humans don't fight fair. We never have. In another section of the facility, Dr. Alex Russell hunched over a complex computer system. As the chief scientist behind Earth's most secret weapons programs, he had spent decades preparing for an event many had considered impossible. Now that it had arrived, he felt a strange calm. "Activate Orpheus Protocol," he commanded, and the screens around him lit up with a soft blue glow. Orpheus was the most advanced AI system ever created by humans. Its sole purpose was to study alien technology and find weaknesses. For days since the attack on New Seattle, it had been analyzing every piece of data Earth had on Council ships. "Sir," called one of his assistants, "you should see this." Russell moved to the woman's station. On her screen, Orpheus displayed something unexpected, a detailed analysis of the Council's unified technology systems. "They're not as unified as they appear," Russell said, understanding immediately what he was seeing. Each Council species developed different technologies, then forced them to work together through adaptation. It's like connecting parts from different manufacturers. They work, but not perfectly. And that creates vulnerabilities, the assistant concluded. Russell nodded, excitement building. Exactly. Orpheus has identified specific frequencies and patterns that could disrupt their entire network. Their shields can't block what they can't anticipate. He immediately opened a communication channel to Colonel Reyes. "Lisa, we have something. The Council ships aren't invincible. They're actually quite vulnerable if we target the right systems." In orbit above Earth, defensive preparations reached fever pitch. Every nation had activated its space forces. Military satellites previously disguised as weather or communication systems revealed their true purpose. The global defense grid, hidden in plain sight for decades, powered up. President Bennett stood in the underground command center, watching the activity with determined eyes. The stolen Council shuttle carrying Admiral Collins, Dr. Martinez, and William Harris had arrived hours earlier, bringing vital information about the Council's plans. "How long until their fleet arrives?" she asked Collins, who stood at her side. "Our best estimate is 18 hours, Madam President. They're gathering their forces for what they believe will be a simple operation." Bennett's expression hardened. "They'll find nothing simple about it." She turned to her military chiefs. "I am authorizing full deployment of all defensive and offensive capabilities. The Council has made its intentions clear. They came not as friends, but as exterminators. We will respond accordingly." The order went out worldwide. In oceans, mountains, deserts, and orbit, hidden weapons activated. 50 years of secret development and trillions in hidden funding revealed their purpose at last. Dr. Martinez worked frantically with Russell's team, adapting her spatial manipulation technology for warfare. What had been designed to help ships travel faster than light could now be used to create localized distortions that would prevent Council ships from coordinating or retreating. "It's ready," she announced after hours of modifications. "Once activated, this will create a disruption field around Earth. Their ships won't be able to escape quickly if things go badly for them." Russell smiled. "Perfect. Combined with our other surprises, they'll regret ever threatening Earth." In orbit, Captain Eric Morgan prepared the Third Fleet for battle. His ships were small compared to Council vessels, but they carried weapons the aliens had never encountered. More importantly, they carried thousands of microscopic drone containers ready to deploy. Morgan addressed his crew via shipwide communication. Many of you joined the Space Force expecting exploration missions. Instead, you find yourselves facing war with an enemy that believes humans are too violent to exist freely. Today, we will show them why they should have left us alone. In another section of the Defense Center, cybersecurity expert Nora Phillips led a team of the world's best hackers. Their mission was to breach Council communication systems and gather intelligence. For days, they had studied the transmissions from the new Seattle attack, looking for patterns and vulnerabilities. Their encryption is complex, but predictable, Phillips explained to her team. They never expected anyone to crack it, so they've grown complacent. Once their main fleet arrives, we'll have access to everything: their battle plans, their private communications, even their ship controls if we're lucky. High above Earth, the advanced scout ships of the Council fleet emerged, from faster-than-light travel. Their mission was simple: assess Earth's defenses before the main fleet arrived. Their commanders expected to find a primitive planet with a few orbital weapons, nothing that could threaten a galactic power. What they found instead shocked them to their core. Earth's orbit bristled with weapons platforms. Sensor readings showed energy signatures unlike anything in Council records. Defensive systems activated automatically, tracking the scout ships with perfect precision. One of the scout commanders, a veteran of dozens of containment operations, stared at his sensor display in disbelief. This was not the defenseless world they had been promised. This was a fortress prepared for war. He immediately sent an urgent message back to the main fleet. Warning: target has extensive defensive capabilities not previously detected. Recommend immediate full tactical analysis before proceeding. The message never reached the main fleet. Earth's communication jammers, activated as soon as the scout ships were detected, blocked all outgoing transmissions. As the last scout ship tried to retreat, it found itself trapped in a spatial distortion field. Dr. Martinez's technology, now weaponized, prevented faster-than-light escape. On Earth, President Bennett received confirmation that all scout ships had been contained. "The first move has been made," she said to Admiral Collins. "Now we wait for their main fleet to arrive." Collins nodded grimly. "They'll come in with overwhelming force, expecting an easy victory." "And find anything but," Bennett finished, her eyes fixed on the tactical display showing Earth's hidden arsenal, now fully revealed and ready for humanity's first interstellar war. Grand Admiral Thexnar of the Ordovician Hegemony stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Unyielding Doctrine. His forearms were folded behind his back as he stared at the tactical display showing Earth and its surrounding defenses. 3 days into what should have been a simple containment operation, and a third of his fleet was either disabled or destroyed. "Impossible," he muttered, his gray skin darkening in anger. These humans were supposed to be primitive. His second in command approached cautiously. "Admiral, we've lost contact with Battle Group 7 near the Red Planet." Thexnar slammed his upper fist against the display. How are they doing this? Our intelligence indicated they had basic energy weapons and simple shield technology. Nothing that could challenge a Council fleet." The truth was becoming painfully clear. The Council had underestimated humanity. Badly. Near Mars, Captain Eric Morgan watched as his seemingly outmatched Third Fleet executed another successful hit-and-run attack against the Council ships. His vessel, the Swift Justice, was smaller than even the Council's support ships, but it carried humanity's most advanced weapons. "Status on drone deployment?" he asked his weapons officer. "Swarms have successfully infiltrated 12 Council vessels, sir," the officer reported. "Their life support systems are already failing. Environmental controls are next." Morgan nodded with grim satisfaction. The microscopic drones were proving devastatingly effective. Too small to be detected by Council scanners, they entered through ventilation systems and maintenance ports, then attacked critical systems from within. Once inside, they reproduced using materials from the ships themselves, growing their numbers exponentially. "Begin Phase 2, Morgan ordered. "Fall back to position Delta. Make it look like we're in retreat." His fleet immediately began pulling, away from the engagement, appearing to flee from the Council's superior firepower. As expected, the Council ships pursued, eager to finish off what they believed was a broken enemy force. "They're taking the bait," Morgan's tactical officer confirmed. All 23 vessels in pursuit formation. Morgan allowed himself a small smile. "Send the signal to Dr. Martinez." Back on Earth, Dr. Olivia Martinez received the coded message from the Third Fleet. She stood in the control center of her spatial manipulation laboratory, surrounded by advanced equipment that had been repurposed for war. "Activate disruption grid," she commanded her team. Targeting coordinates locked on Sector 5 Delta. The massive array of spatial manipulators powered up, drawing enormous energy from Earth's reserves. What had once been designed to help humanity reach the stars was now being used to trap their enemies. In space near Mars, reality itself seemed to warp and distort. The pursuing Council vessels suddenly found themselves unable to maintain formation. Their faster-than-light drives failed to engage. Communications between ships became impossible as space-time twisted between them. "What's happening?" demanded the commander of the Council battleship Righteous Judgment. "Why can't we maintain course?" His science officer stared at readings in disbelief. "They're manipulating space-time itself. Our ships are being isolated from each other." With the Council fleet trapped and divided, Captain Morgan's ships turned to attack once more, this time targeting specific weaknesses Dr. Russell's Orpheus protocol had identified. On Earth, cybersecurity expert Nora Phillips and her team executed their own crucial part of humanity's defense plan. For days, they had been quietly infiltrating Council communication networks. Now they were ready to strike. "I'm in their primary command channel," Phillips announced, her fingers flying across her keyboard. "Accessing their private communications, now." What she found confirmed humanity's worst fears. The screens in Earth's command center filled with private discussions between Council leaders, revealing their true intentions. The complete subjugation of humanity, genetic re-engineering, to remove aggressive tendencies or, if resistance proved too strong, total extermination. "Send it everywhere," ordered President Bennett, her voice hard with resolve. "Every communication channel, every Council ship, every allied world. Let the galaxy see what the Council really is." Phillips nodded and executed the command. Across Council space, the private discussions of the ruling species began playing on every communication device. Their plans for Earth, and for other problematic species, laid bare for all to see. Meanwhile, Admiral Collins led Earth's First Fleet in a direct assault on the Council's command ship. His vessels, hidden until now, emerged from concealed positions in Earth's asteroid belt. "This is Admiral John Collins of Earth's Defense Force," he broadcast to the unyielding Doctrine. "You came to our home uninvited. You killed our people without warning. You planned our extinction. Now you will face the consequences." On the Council flagship, Grand Admiral Thexnar watched in growing horror as human vessels appeared from hiding places throughout the solar system. These weren't the primitive ships his intelligence had reported. These were advanced warships with weapons his scanners couldn't even identify. "Raise all shields," he commanded. "Prepare for maximum defensive posture." But it was too late. The human ships fired in perfect coordination, each shot targeting specific weaknesses in the Council vessel's design, weaknesses that should have been impossible for humans to know about. "How?" Thexnar demanded as systems began failing throughout his ship. How did they know exactly where to strike? The answer became clear as his own communication officer turned to him in shock. "Admiral, someone is broadcasting our technical specifications. All our shield frequencies, power distribution networks, life support vulnerabilities, everything." On Earth, Dr. Russell watched with satisfaction as Orpheus completed its task, transmitting all the weaknesses it had discovered in Council technology to every human ship. The AI had done its job perfectly, analyzing alien technology and finding the flaws in their seemingly perfect systems. The Council built their empire by stealing technology from other species, Russell explained to President Bennett. They never fully understood how everything worked together. That created vulnerabilities that Orpheus was able to identify. As the battle raged across the solar system, President Bennett addressed Earth's population from the underground command center. Citizens of Earth, she began, her face appearing on screens worldwide. For decades, we have looked to the stars with hope, believing we would find friends and allies. 3 days ago, we learned the truth. The Galactic Council came not as friends but as conquerors, intent on either enslaving humanity or destroying us entirely. She paused, her expression resolute. They believed us weak. They thought we would surrender in the face of their superior technology and numbers. They were wrong. Humanity has spent its entire history overcoming challenges that should have destroyed us. We have fought against nature, against disease, against each other, and we have survived. We have turned those experiences into strength. On her command screen, Bennett could see Council ships retreating from Mars as Captain Morgan's fleet pressed their advantage. The microscopic drone swarms had disabled their weapons and shields. The spatial disruption grid prevented their escape. Today, Bennett continued, we show the Council that humanity will not be contained. We will not be subjugated. And we will never ever surrender our right to determine our own destiny among the stars. As she finished speaking, Admiral Collins's first fleet reached firing range of the Council flagship. The unyielding doctrine, pride of the Council's fleet and symbol of their power, found itself surrounded by human ships that shouldn't have existed. Target their command center, Collins ordered calmly. Let's end this. Multiple beams of energy converged on the Council vessel, bypassing its shields completely thanks to the frequencies provided by Orpheus. The massive ship shuddered under the impact, its lights flickering as critical systems failed. Inside, Grand Admiral Thexnar realized the unthinkable had happened. The supposedly primitive humans had not only resisted a Council containment operation, they were winning. Dr. Olivia Martinez was startled when her laboratory's secure communication system activated unexpectedly. The screen flickered to life, displaying not a human face, but a shimmering crystalline structure that pulsed with inner light. Dr. Martinez of Earth, came a voice unlike any human sound, translated by the computer. I am Shimmer of Dusk of the Alani. We must speak urgently. Martinez stared in surprise. The Alani were one of the 7 major species of the Galactic Council, crystalline beings who communicated primarily through patterns of light. Unlike the others, they had remained mostly silent during Earth's diplomatic missions. Why should I trust any Council member after what you've done to our people? Martinez demanded. The crystal structure pulsed with rapid patterns. The Alani did not vote for the attack on your world. We abstained. The decision was not unanimous. Martinez hesitated, then nodded for the alien to continue. Your defensive capabilities have surprised the Council, Shimmer of Dusk continued. But you should know the truth. The Council's attack was driven primarily by the Ordovician hegemony and the Exith Collective. They fear your species' rapid advancement. Why are you telling me this? Martinez asked. Because Earth is not the first world the Council has attempted to contain. Over centuries, dozens of promising species have been suppressed or destroyed when they develop too quickly for the Council's comfort. Martinez felt a chill run down her spine. How many? More than you can imagine. And not all were destroyed. Some were merely altered. Their aggressive tendencies removed, their innovative drive dampened, their potential limited. That's monstrous, Martinez whispered. It is survival, from the perspective of the elder species, Shimmer of Dusk replied. But the Alani have questioned this approach for generations. Your resistance offers an opportunity for change. The communication ended abruptly as Shimmer of Dusk detected security protocols activating. But the damage was done. Earth now knew. The Council was divided. Meanwhile, Colonel Lisa Reyes led a daring mission that would change the course of the conflict. While Council forces were focused on the main battle, her team boarded a disabled Council ship. Their mission was to gather intelligence and technology, but what they found was far more valuable. Admiral Collins, you need to see this, Reyes reported via encrypted channel. Her helmet camera showed a section of the alien vessel unlike any Other, row after row of stasis pods containing unconscious aliens of various species. "What are we looking at, Colonel?" Collins asked. "Prisoners, sir, but according to the ship's records, these species are supposed to be extinct. They're from worlds the Council contained centuries ago. The survivors were taken for study and experimentation." Collins' expression hardened. "Download everything you can find. This changes everything." As news of Earth's successful defense spread through Council space via smuggled data packets and rogue transmissions, something unexpected began to happen. Other species, long subjugated by the Council, began questioning their overlords. The Council's myth of technological superiority was crumbling. William Harris, Earth's senior diplomat, recognized the opportunity immediately. Using the intelligence provided by Shimmer of Dusk and the evidence from Colonel Reyes's mission, he established communication with resistance movements on various Council worlds. "They've been lying to all of us," he explained during a covert transmission to leaders of 12 different species. "The Council doesn't protect galactic stability. It preserves the power of the elder species by preventing others from reaching their potential." On the Thraxian homeworld, the revelation caused immediate upheaval. The insectoid species had long been junior partners in the Council, providing biotechnology in exchange for supposed protection. Now, seeing the humans successfully resist, they began to question centuries of compliance. If the humans could develop such technology in secret, argued first speaker Kristal to the Thraxian Assembly, what might we achieve without Council restrictions on our research? Similar discussions happened across Council space, as species that had accepted their place in the hierarchy for generations began to wonder if there was another way. President Bennett seized this moment of uncertainty. Using the communication protocols provided by Shimmer of Dusk, she addressed the Galactic Assembly directly, the first human ever to do so. "Members of the Galactic Assembly," she began, her image projected in chambers across dozens of worlds. "I speak to you not as an enemy, but as a victim of deception. The Council leadership has hidden the truth from all of us for centuries." Uraido presented the evidence Earth had gathered, records of other species contained or altered, the private discussions of Council leaders about maintaining control through technological suppression, and the prisoners discovered aboard the Council vessel. "Earth was targeted not because we are violent," she continued, "but because we advance too quickly for the comfort of those who wish to maintain their power. Ask yourselves, how many innovations, how many discoveries, how many potential allies have been lost because of this fear?" As she spoke, something remarkable happened in the battle above Earth. The Thraxian fleet, which had been positioned to support the main Council attack, suddenly broke formation. Their commander, Sub-Admiral Ixil, opened a channel to both the Council flagship and Earth Command. "The Thraxian Collective withdraws from this unjust action," Ixil announced. "We joined the Council for mutual benefit, not to suppress emerging species." Grand Admiral Thexnar was furious. "This is treason. Return to formation immediately." But Ixil wasn't alone. Within hours, ships from 3 other species also withdrew their support. The once unified Council attack force began to fragment as centuries of built-up resentment and suspicion finally found an outlet. On the Council homeworld of Zethera Prime, emergency sessions were called as reports flooded in of widespread unrest. Species that had been reliable servants for generations were suddenly demanding answers about Earth's revelations. The Ordovision High Command, realizing their position was weakening by the hour, made a desperate decision. "We must increase the attack on Earth," First Commander Vex Duel insisted. "Destroy their leadership and communication capabilities before more damage is done." But it was too late. Earth's defensive systems had proven too strong, and with each passing hour, more Council ships either withdrew or switched sides. What had begun as a simple containment operation had become a catastrophic failure that threatened the very foundation of Council authority. In Earth orbit, Admiral Collins watched with satisfaction as former Council vessels approached under flags of truce. "We request asylum," came the message from a Valyrian cruiser. "We no longer recognize Council authority." Similar requests came from ships of other species, creating an unprecedented situation. former enemies becoming potential allies in a matter of hours. William Harris, working with Dr. Martinez, quickly established protocols for these defectors. "We need to build trust quickly," he advised President Bennett. "These species are taking an enormous risk by siding with us." Bennett agreed. "Offer them full protection and information exchange. The more allies we gather, the stronger our position becomes." As news spread of Earth's continued resistance and the fracturing Council response, Shimmer of Dusk contacted Dr. Martinez once more. "The Council is collapsing from within," the Alani reported. "Centuries of suppressed resentment are surfacing. What you humans have done in days, others have attempted for generations." Martinez leaned forward. "What happens now?" "That," replied Shimmer of Dusk, "is for all of us to decide together. The age of Council dominance is ending. What replaces it will be shaped by what Earth does next." As the fifth day of battle dawned, Earth found itself in an unimaginable position. From fighting for mere survival against a seemingly invincible enemy, humanity now stood at the center of a galactic revolution, with former Council species looking to them for leadership in creating something new from the ashes of the old order. 6 months after the failed invasion of Earth, Admiral John Collins stood before the newly formed Galactic Assembly. The massive space station where they gathered had been built through the combined efforts of Earth and its new allies, floating in neutral space far from any homeworld. Collins looked around at the representatives of 37 different species. Some were former Council members who had broken away. Others were species that had been suppressed for generations, now free to determine their own destiny. In the center of the chamber stood the Earth delegation, led by President Bennett. "The mistake wasn't underestimating humanity's weapons," Collins addressed the assembly. "It was underestimating our adaptability. Humans have spent our entire history overcoming challenges that should have destroyed us. We turned those experiences into strength." The former Council chambers on Cythera Prime now stood empty, a silent monument to a failed system of domination. In its place, this new alliance promoted technological exchange and mutual defense without forced homogeneity. Dr. Olivia Martinez stood beside Shimmer of Dusk as they inaugurated the first joint research facility. The Alani crystalline structure pulsed with patterns that the translation system interpreted as excitement. "Your spatial manipulation technology, combined with our light-based communication systems, will revolutionize travel throughout known space," Shimmer of Dusk said. "What the Council feared most is now our greatest strength, the free exchange of ideas." Nearby, Colonel Lisa Reyes worked with military leaders from a dozen species to establish a mutual defense protocol. Unlike the Council's approach of forcing standardization, this new alliance embraced diversity of tactics and technology. "Each species fights differently," Reyes explained. "Humans use adaptability and surprise. The Thraxians excel at swarm tactics. The Valerians are masters of stealth. Together we're stronger than any single approach could ever be." In another sector of space, Captain Eric Morgan led a humanitarian mission to liberate detention facilities where problematic species had been imprisoned. Ship after ship filled with beings thought extinct for centuries returned to freedom, carrying with them knowledge and cultures the Council had tried to erase. On Earth, William Harris prepared the final draft of what would become known as the Treaty of Saul. Unlike the rigid hierarchy of the Council, this document established principles for cooperation based on mutual respect and shared advancement. "The Council ruled through fear," Harris explained to the Assembly. "They believed that advanced technology in the hands of aggressive species would lead to chaos. We believe the opposite, that only by sharing knowledge openly can we build trust and true peace." President Bennett rose to sign the treaty alongside representatives from dozens of worlds. As she placed her signature on the document, she spoke words that would be remembered for generations. "Today marks not just the end of Council dominance, but the beginning of something greater. Not an empire or a hierarchy, but a true community of worlds, different in form, in thought, in evolution, but united in our desire to explore, to discover, and to grow together." In his office aboard the New Alliance station, Admiral Collins stared out at the stars. A message arrived from a previously unknown region of space. another species reaching out for first contact, drawn by news of Earth's victory over the Council. Collins smiled as he prepared to welcome them. Humanity's true strength had never been just in its weapons, but in its ability to build something better from the ashes of conflict. The stars that had once seemed filled with threat now held promise. The galaxy was changing, awakening from centuries of controlled development. And at the center of this awakening stood Earth, not as conquerors, but as catalysts for a new age of discovery and cooperation. "We're ready," Collins said simply, opening the channel to greet the newcomers. "Welcome to a new galaxy.